Welcome everyone to the 60th episode of the show Too Long Didn't Scroll, which you can find on platforms like YouTube and most podcast apps to get a quick and listenable daily news fix without having to scroll endlessly through your newsfeed. We are now on March the 20th of 2023, so let's get right into whatever happened on this day. We start the events of this day with an extra long summary of recent occurrences during the Russo-Ukrainian War. We first concern ourselves with the Ukrainian side of the war. In line with the country's pleas for continued assistance from its allies to be able to repel the current Russian offensive, as of today, reports have come out that the European Union is now planning to enact a €2 billion plan to supply Ukraine's forces with 1 million artillery shells to continue to assist its efforts to defend itself against Russian forces. This also comes ahead of news that an apparent attack on a Russian missile shipment by Ukrainian forces has succeeded, likely by drones laced with shrapnel and explosives. The missiles destroyed were Kalibr cruise missiles being transported by rail to the Russian Black Sea Fleet. We now concern ourselves with the Russian side of the war. Russia's ties to China will likely continue to remain strong as ever, since as of today, the Russian government has invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to dine with Russian President Vladimir Putin, who, as you may recall, currently has an active warrant out for his arrest by the International Criminal Court. During the state dinner, the two presidents called each other, quote-unquote, dear friends, and reaffirmed each country's ties with each other, complimenting each country's strengths and accomplishment during these recent years. China's government has been known as of late for attempting to become the mediator in potential peace talks for the war. The governments, like in America, have denounced such efforts and have labeled China as attempting to provide Russia with diplomatic cover in the wake of its war crime charges. Meanwhile, in the country of North Korea, the country's reputation for isolationist aggression continue as they respond to recent drills held by American and South Korean forces, many of which involve practicing amphibious landings on enemy territory. North Korea, under the government of Kim Jong-un, has lambasted what they see as the aggressive intentions behind such drills, and, as of the date of recording, has conducted drills of its own, simulating what would be a nuclear counterattack on enemies, during which the DPRK's forces conduct a short-range missile launch from a buried silo in a similar style to the launch of an ICBM, or Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. North Korean state media said that the drills were designed to boost the country's quote-unquote war deterrence and nuclear counterattack capability, while leader Kim Jong-un has stated that the country should be and is ready for quote-unquote any immediate and overwhelming nuclear counterattack at any time. We now head on over to the American state of Florida, where around 5 years ago in the city of Deerfield Beach, popular rapper and singer-songwriter Yasha Dwayne Ricardo Onfray, more commonly known as XXXTentacion, was robbed by 4 men and subsequently murdered by Michael Boatwright with a firearm, during which the men blocked his car with an SUV and proceeded to storm his vehicle. The trial for the 3 defendants, who had not pleaded guilty during the plea negotiations, had begun on February 7th of this year, and lasted until the day of recording, during which all 3 were charged with first-degree murder and robbery with a firearm. All charged would be facing life imprisonment. Meanwhile, in the country of India, specifically in the state of Punjab, a proposed separatist movement by Sikh radicals has been gaining traction under the figure Amritpal Singh, who gained prominence in recent months over his demands for the creation of a new independent nation called Khalistan to allow Sikhs, who have historically seen marginalization and persecution by the rest of India, to practice a more hardline approach to their religion and culture in their independent homeland. India's government has responded to such a movement with harsh suppression tactics after Singh and his supporters stormed a police station in response to the arrest of one of their members, which injured multiple police officers. In response to the raid, India's government has since arrested well over 100 Sikh separatists, stating that they were apparently, quote-unquote, attempting to disturb law and order in Punjab, and has also taken to shutting all mobile internet in the state off completely as a heightened police presence takes to the streets, moves that have been controversial to countries like the United Kingdom, where an official describes such actions as, quote-unquote, disgraceful and unacceptable. The Punjab state of India has historically seen much instability and violence, as Sikh separatist movements often occur. In the country of South Africa, unrest is now unfurling in cities like Johannesburg and Pretoria, where the left-wing Economic Freedom Fighters Group, also the country's third-largest political party, has now taken to the streets protesting what they see as the government's attempts at cutting costs and fiscal mismanagement, which affect the entire country. The EFF group has since advocated for a nationwide shutdown across the country to make South Africans' voices heard, and has staged several protests and rallies across this country. In response to such protests, the South African government has since deployed a heightened police presence in the country's cities and have since also begun deploying the military, as cries echo across the country for President Cyril Ramaphosa to resign.